A new surge of illegal crossings, smashing records at the border, long lines of mostly adult men from all over the world.
With Joe Biden's open border policy, our country is really at an increased threat for a terrorist attack.
All the threats are all elevated, all at exactly the same time.
Terror threats against the United States reach an all-time high.
Thousands of people have come from Yemen, Iran, Syria, and Iraq. If we are going to deal with the national security emergency at our border, we have to do it now.
12,000 migrants crossed the southern border in a single day on Tuesday, the highest total ever, a record broken for illegal immigration coming through the southern border last week. And this comes on the exact same day that FBI director warned senators that he sees blinking lights everywhere on threats against the United States, and he's talking about sleeper cells through illegal immigration coming across our southern border, being in various different cities around the nation to wreak havoc on the United States through attacks. And we're hearing that it could be infrastructural attacks against our waterways, our electrical grids, our airports, also lone wolf attacks that could take place, and these coming from Hamas and other terrorist groups that have made their way into the nation that are already here. But now we're hearing, with these warnings, we're actually seeing the crossings increase. You would think that we would want to secure our borders even more with the potential threats. However, we're hearing that we're actually breaking records as of last week. So I'm going to be sharing with you the video footage so that way you can see it for yourself, and also the latest articles coming out. Put them on the screen, read right from them, so that way you know the latest. And I know this might not be the information that you want to hear, but if you appreciate knowing what's going on, and I believe that knowledge is power, do me a quick favor before we dive in. Smash that like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton. And if you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. I'll keep you up to speed on everything. And if you want to support the channel, I've added a join button. You can click it, become a member, support the channel, and as a result, all of these articles that I'm referencing, they will pop up in your YouTube feed. But if not, no worries. I cite all my sources for you anyways. They are all linked in the description below. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in and take a look at this and get you caught up on records being broken in the United States for illegal immigration crossings from our southern border, and at the same time, a heightened level of alert for threats against the United States unlike anything we have ever seen. Let's go ahead and dive right in.
What they're telling the American people and what actually is happening on the ground are two different stories, and you're hearing it from the migrants themselves.
So that gentleman right there has been on top of the issue from the beginning. Now a live look at Lukeville, Arizona. A new surge of illegal crossings, smashing records at the border yet again. We recorded more than 12,000 encounters in a single day this week, and our cameras were capturing long lines of mostly adult men from all over the world. Slipping through breaks in the fence, led there by smugglers. And Bill Malusian's been there all week. He's live again in Lukeville, Arizona. Has much changed today, or is it the same pattern so far? Bill, good morning.
Same pattern, Bill. Good morning to you. It's been a wild week down here in Lukeville. Border Patrol needs a lot of help. Every time they fix a hole in the border wall, smugglers cut it elsewhere, and there are more mass illegal crossings. You mentioned those single adult men crossing. Take a look behind us. These guys all waiting for processing, coming in from all over the world. We want to show you some video we shot late yesterday afternoon before sunset. We talk about those wall breaches. Take a look at this. There was another cut in the border wall here in Lukeville. You'll see on the right side of your screen, illegal immigrants pouring in through the breach in that wall. Hundreds of them end up coming through. Border Patrol overwhelmed in the area. You'll see them start walking down the border road, waiting to be processed, looking for Border Patrol to turn themselves in. This sort of thing happens every single day out here. A lot of African men, families from Ecuador and Mexico as well. And we'll show you what happened once they got past that border wall area. Take a look at this video. They got onto the local highway out here in Lukeville. This is the only road that goes in and out of Lukeville. Also goes into Mexico to go to Rocky Point. And these illegal immigrants were just walking in the middle of the highway. Thankfully, there was no cars or traffic because the port of entry has been closed down out here. But you can see what agents out here have to deal with day in and day out. And lastly, we want to show you what's happening in San Diego sector. Take a look at this wild video. Border Patrol releasing these images, thermal video showing another border wall incursion down there by San Isidro. They say about 75 people scaled the border wall led by smugglers. You'll see them coming up and down one after another, and then eventually you'll see them all gathering, and then they go running into the United States as a large mass. The San Diego Sector Border Patrol saying human smugglers are doing this sort of thing every day down there. It's dangerous for the migrants, it's dangerous for agents, but this is happening all along the southern border.
So, Bill, just a couple of questions. I don't know if there's able to ask some of them this, but if they're coming from India and Senegal, how did they get to where they are? How did they get to South America, Latin America? And also, what have any of them said to you what their credible threat was, because that's the bar for asylum, was for them in those countries?
So for the first question, it's a good one, and we've asked them all that question. A lot of them said they've flown into South America first, either Colombia or Brazil, and then they start making their way through Central America. One guy from Senegal told us he flew into Brazil, then went to Colombia, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, then into southern Mexico, Tapachula, then they ride the trains up or they take buses and they get up here to the northern border. So they go through a handful of countries before they get here. To your second question, we've been talking to guys out here all week long, Martha. Not a single one of them have told us they plan to claim asylum or that they have fear of their governments or fear of persecution in their home countries. Every single guy out here has told us they're here for work, for opportunity, or to link with family, and that again does not qualify for asylum. Asylum law is very strict in the United States. You have to demonstrate fear of persecution, and everybody we've talked to out here so far says they're here essentially for work and opportunity.
Bill, just one last thing. Of that, given that answer, how many will be deported?
It's hard to know, but overall, looking at the big picture, most will likely be released into the country with what's called an NTA, a notice to appear, and a future court date. A handful of them may get deported, but when we have guys from like Syria coming in like we did the other day, the U.S. doesn't even have diplomatic relations with some of these countries. It's not like they can call up Bashar al-Assad and have him land in Damascus airport, right? So some of these people are going to be here to stay. Some will eventually be removed, but a large majority, because of how overwhelmed Border Patrol is right now, how over capacity they are, they're doing a lot of mass releases. A lot will probably get NTAs, notice to appears, with future court dates. And sometimes those court dates are years out in advance. Yeah.
So as you heard, many of those that cross the border, they're actually going to be remaining in the United States. Let me know your thoughts. This comes at a time when we are at a heightened level of potential attacks against the U.S. Take a look at this article that came out the exact same day that the record was broken. FBI director warns senators that he sees blinking lights everywhere on threats against the United States. FBI Director Christopher Wray said Tuesday that he has never seen a time during his decade-long career when so many threats against the U.S. were all elevated as they are now, warning senators that he sees blinking lights everywhere. During a hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee, ranking Republican member of the committee, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, asked Wray if he saw blinking red lights, referring to warning signs the U.S. missed before the attack of 9/11. "I see blinking lights everywhere I turn," Wray said. Wray also said that the Bureau is working around the clock to identify and disrupt potential attacks by individuals inspired by Hamas attacks on October 7th. Given the steady drumbeat of calls for attacks by foreign terrorist organizations since October 7th, we're working around the clock to identify and disrupt potential attacks by those inspired by Hamas's horrific attacks in Israel. In addition, Wray touted the work of the FBI, including that the FBI disrupted over 40% more cyber operations and arrests over 60% more of cyber criminals than the year before. So elevated levels of attacks since the October 7th Israel-Hamas war started. And in addition to that, we've also got southern border issues where we've got crossings taking place, breaking records at this present time. Now, let me know your thoughts, and we had some breaking news just come out in the past 24 hours. I shared it with you that the United States could be breaking their ties with Israel here in the next 3 weeks. Word coming out that President Joe Biden put an ultimatum on Israel to finish the war in Gaza, and if they do not finish by the end of the year, that they could lose support from the United States. Anthony Blinken telling Israel, the IDF, and Benjamin Netanyahu that Israel does not have the credit with the United States to continue this war. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and to check the latest on that, be sure to see this video right here next as I covered it in detail for you. And you guys, as more information comes out regarding the U.S., Israel, everything going on, I'll be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel. But that is the latest, and thank you so much for joining me. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.